Hi everyone, I hope you can all hear me okay. So you've just seen there a really informative video on our offers of student accommodation. So you've seen there Academy Apartments. So Academy Apartments, as you saw in the video, a stone's throw away from our campus at UA92. We also have West Point, as you'll have heard some of the guys talking about in the previous sessions. West Point is a very similar building, about sort of 5 or 10 minutes walk down the road from the campus, owned by the same company. So the building itself inside and the rooms and the facilities are all exactly the same as what you've seen on screen there for Academy Apartments. So if you've got any questions about the accommodation, either put them in the chat now, or if you want to join in the Q&A at the end, or if you want to use any of the contact details or any of our socials, just drop us a line and we'll more than happily answer any questions you've got on accommodation. So my name's Josh. I'm here today to talk to you about applying to UA92 and student finance. So not the two most glamorous of subjects, but obviously two vital parts of the application process, obviously, and being with us at UA92. So we're going to start with a short bit about UCAS and direct applications to UA92. So at UA92, there are two ways that you can apply to join us. So we've got the direct application and we've got UCAS. So a direct application is for those people who the main part is here that you already hold all your qualifications. So if you've got all your qualifications, get in touch and we can sort out a direct application form, and I'll go into that in a second. Alternatively, there is UCAS as well. So UCAS is for those people who are still working towards their qualifications. So if you're doing your A-levels or your BTECs or whatever it is you're doing currently. So we're going to start briefly with applying directly to UA92. So if you're looking to apply directly, like I said, you've already got to have all your qualifications complete. And that means complete as in you've got your certificates, you've got the pieces of paper and the transcripts and everything like that. You can't be waiting on any of those qualifications. As well, you can't already have a live application in the UCAS system. So what it stops us doing, and rightly so, is people sort of sneaking in an extra application as well as a UCAS form as well. So if you want to apply direct, got to have everything in place already, and you can't already have a UCAS application, a live application. If you're interested in a direct application form, what you need to do is ask a member of the team, so whether that's via email or an event like this, for a direct application form. We will email that out to you. What you need to do is complete that, obviously, and return it to us, along with evidence of the qualifications that you are using for entry. So evidence is things like a clear photograph or a clear scan or a clear copy of the certificate that shows your name, the qualification type, and your final grade. You then need to submit that with the completed application form to us. The rest of the application form is quite straightforward. So obviously personal details, your education background. It does still require, however, a personal statement and a reference as well. So your reference can be an educational one, it can be a professional one, a character one, but it does still require the personal statement and the reference. There's no charge for a direct application. So like I said, if you're interested and you think a direct application might be right for you, drop us a line, use the chat, use the socials or emails or anything like that, and let us know. So UCAS is the other way to apply to UA92. So UCAS is the University and College Admission System, if anyone's wondering what that stands for. And basically, it's an online system that is used for applying to university. It's quite straightforward in that sense. Traditionally, it's mainly used by those in schools and colleges. So if you're still in school or you're still in college and you're working towards your qualifications, traditionally you will be the people looking to use UCAS. However, that's not exclusive. So if you are not in a school or a college, you can still use UCAS. If you're still working towards your qualifications and you're doing so yourself, you can still you're still welcome to use UCAS. So with UCAS, the difference is you can apply for between 1 and 5 universities. So that can be for different courses at 5 different universities, or it could be 5 different courses at the same university or any combination thereof. So that's the main difference between applying direct and UCAS. So direct is just direct to us just for one course at one university. UCAS, obviously, if you've got different courses at different universities. So with UCAS, there is a fee, there is a charge. So within that, there are 2 options. So within UCAS, you can apply to just one university. That costs £20. If that is unsuccessful, or if you don't want to accept the offer that you get made, hopefully, or you don't receive the offer, you can then enter what's called clearing, which we'll go into shortly, and that costs another £5. Alternatively, for £25 in one go, you can apply for up to 5 universities, like I said earlier, and you can then go into clearing on top of that as well, should you wish, and there's no extra charge there. So it's entirely up to you guys how you want to do it. 20 quid for the single application, and then another £5 on top if you then wanted to go into clearing or anything else, or pay the 25 quid straight away, and that gives you access to 5 choices and then clearing on top of that should you need to. So what goes into your UCAS application? So your UCAS application is similar to the direct application in terms of what goes into it. So you've got your personal details, education history, predicted grades on your current subjects, or whatever you're working on at the moment, the courses and universities, obviously, that you want to apply for, your reference, and your personal statement. That all goes into your UCAS application, and that will then come through to us. So your reference, traditionally, if you're coming through your school or your college or whatever, will be by your tutor. And if you are looking to apply directly, like I said, the reference can be from a professional one or something like that. So that's what goes into your UCAS application. So UCAS has a series of important dates that you need to be aware of. So the 4 main dates are on the screen now: the 15th of January, the 15th of February, the 30th of June, and the 6th of July. There's tons of other important UCAS dates out there as well that are all on their UCAS calendar you can access, but these are the 4 you need to pay attention to if you're applying through UCAS. So 15th of January is, its official name in UCAS terms, is the Equal Consideration Deadline. That basically means that if you submit your application by the 15th of January, that every university has to assess that application fairly and with no priority, basically. If you submit after that deadline, universities can then prioritise applications that came in before the 15th of January. It doesn't mean, however, that if you miss that 15th of January deadline, that's it. That absolutely is not the case. So when you hear people talking about the UCAS deadline, you've got to get it in by the 15th. Yes, if you want it to meet the equal consideration deadline, but don't worry if you don't meet that 15th of January deadline. So the 15th of February is the next deadline, and that's when UCAS Extra opens. So UCAS Extra means that if from your first 5 choices or up to 5 choices, you didn't receive any offers, you don't want to accept any of those offers, you want to decline them, or you've had a change of heart and you want to try a different subject or something like that, UCAS Extra is for you. So UCAS Extra, you can add 1 new choice at a time, at a different university or for a different course or whatever. And that is basically, if you're not holding any offers from the 15th of January, you can start adding single choices after that from the 15th of February. Next one is the 30th of June. So the 30th of June, basically, applications received after this point will automatically go into clearing, again, which we'll come on to in a minute. So you've got plenty of time, obviously, from the 15th of January all the way through to the 30th of June, if you miss that initial deadline, to still go through the UCAS Extra period. After the 30th of June, you then move into clearing, and clearing officially opens on the 6th of July. So that's the last important date we've got on the screen there. So clearing is for people who didn't receive any offers or none that you wanted to accept. So you did receive them all, but you don't want to accept any of them. You didn't meet the conditions of any offers or anything like that, or if you declined your firm place. So clearing, obviously, it has quite sort of negative connotations, clearing. Don't worry about that. Clearing is not a negative thing whatsoever. Clearing is basically when you can get in touch with universities directly. You can call me basically and say, I'm interested in your accounting and finance course. I'll say, yes, we've still got vacancies, and we can then go through an application there and then on the phone using your UCAS details, and we can potentially get an offer out to you sort of there and then. So there's plenty of opportunities within the UCAS cycle here for you to get an application in, whether that's through the main cycle, which runs up until the 15th, through 15th of January, that is, UCAS Extra running from the 15th of February all the way up to the end of June, or then through clearing from the 6th of July onwards. And don't worry about those dates. Don't worry about writing them all down. Like I said, if you just Google the UCAS calendar, they've got a really good tool on their website that has all of these dates there for you. So In terms of entry requirements for all our UA92 courses, so a degree course at UA92, all the degree subjects have the same level 3 qualifications of 104 UCAS tariff points. So we don't use grades as our requirements, we use points as our requirements. So 104 UCAS tariff points. So the two most popular qualifications we receive, obviously from applicants, are A-levels and BTECs. That's not to say that we don't accept anything else. We're really open, and that's why we use the points-based tariff as to what we'll accept. But 104 UCAS tariff points from A-level works out at BCC. From a BTEC, National Extended Diploma, works out around a DMM, something around there. Like I said, because we use the points offer, any qualification that is on the UCAS tariff, we are open to considering. So bear that in mind when it comes to your application. Don't leave anything off. If you think, oh, you know, I've got a piano grade 6 or something, stick it on your application. You never know, it might be worth some UCAS points. We'll come on to the UCAS calculator in a second where you can find that out. Our second course that we run is the Certificate of Higher Education. So the Certificate of Higher Education is just the first year of the degree, studied with the degree students, but you just study the first year. If you're successful on the certificate, you have two options. So those two options are, A, you can either say, thank you very much, I'll take that qualification, we all shake hands or bump elbows as we have to do these days, and you leave with a really good qualification that's accredited by Lancaster University and is a proper standalone qualification in itself. Alternatively, if you pass that first year, just as everybody else would have to on the full degree, you would then just move straight on to the second year of the degree with everybody else that you've been studying the first year with. There'll be no difference whatsoever in that first year as to if you were doing the cert, as it's known, the cert HE, or the degree. Everybody studies together, you get treated exactly the same level of access to all the facilities at UA92. It's just a really good way to sort of dip your toe into the world of HE and UA92, higher education and UA92, to say, is this what I want to do, without committing to full 3 years straight away. The entry requirements for that are 64 UCAS points. So from A-level, that works out at about 2 Cs. From BTEC, it works out at about MPP, so merit pass. Those points that I'm talking about there are all on the UCAS tariff calculator. So again, if you just Google UCAS calculator and go onto their website, like I said, they've got loads of great tools. The best one for me, I think, being the UCAS tariff calculator. So basically what you do, you go onto that website, there's some boxes for you to fill in, you put in the qualification, you put in the grade, and it tells you the points that it's worth. And you can put all your qualifications in, it adds them all up for you, basically does my job for me, tells me what qualifications, tells you what qualifications you have and what they are worth. And then you can obviously measure that up against what course you're interested in applying for. All of our courses have their level 2 requirements as well, so that's GCSEs, that's what level 2 is, and get in touch with us to ask about those, because there's slight variations in that, but the general consensus for the degrees is 5 grade Cs or level 4 or above, including your English and maths, and at the Certificate of Higher Education, we look for 2 grade Cs at level 4 or above, one of those being English or maths. Get in touch about level 2s if you have any questions, but that's the general consensus there. So we're going to move on now then to the 2 other options that we have in terms of courses. So if you don't meet the requirements for either of these, don't worry, all is not lost. So we have 2 further options. We have firstly our Access to Higher Education course. So an Access to HE course is something that we offer that is run in conjunction with Trafford College. And it's a 1-year programme that is designed ideally for people over the age of 19. And it is a course that really helps learners develop their skills to come onto a degree course or a certificate course eventually after that 1 year. So if you successfully pass the Access course, you will be guaranteed an offer of a place on a course at UA92 afterwards. It's delivered in conjunction with Trafford, but it is still delivered on the UA92 campus, so you still get that full UA92 experience. In terms of entry requirements for that, we look for just 2 GCSEs, so that's your English and Maths at grade C or level 4 or above. If that isn't quite right for you, still don't worry, we have one last option, and that is the Step Forward at UA92 course. So Step Forward is a 6-week course that's completely free, run by ourselves at UA92. This is a course designed for people who might not necessarily have the academic background, but have really good work and life experience that stands them in good stead for a course at UA92. So this is something that will help get you ready for the academic side of things, whilst taking into consideration all your professional experience and your work experience. This course doesn't necessarily have strict entry requirements, but what we would do is probably invite you in for an interview or something like this over Zoom or Teams or something. And then potentially that we may ask you also to complete a short literacy and numeracy test, just to make sure you've got the abilities to go on to an academic course afterwards. So that's a really quick whistle-stop tour of applying to UA92 and the entry requirements and different types of courses that we offer. And we're now going to move on to our bit of a chat about student finance and how to apply. So I thought we'd start with a question on student finance. So what's going to happen is, hopefully in a second, we'll be able to bring up a bit of a poll for you. So it's just this one question, and I wanted to get an idea of your knowledge of student finance. So just select the one that best applies to you out of these. So how much do you know about student finance? Would you say you're an expert? Would you say you've got a pretty good grasp? Would you say that you know a little bit here and there, the odd ins and outs? Not much at all, or you haven't really got a clue what it is? Don't worry, student finance is a confusing thing. I'm going to tell you hopefully everything you need to know. So if you want to select which one applies to you, and then hopefully that'll give me a good idea of what we're looking at here. And then I've got a few short slides and a bit of information about student finance. So click the one that best applies to you. So I've got the results coming through to my phone of what we can see here. So we've got a good mix of everyone. We've got the biggest category looks like it's been a few people know the ins and outs, which is what we'd expect, because it's something that until you need to use it, why would you want to know too much about it? So thank you all for filling that in. So that gives me a really good idea of what we're looking at here. So we're going to move back on to the slides now. So student finance, what do you need to pay for basically when you're a student? So you've got your three biggest outgoings as a student. So those three big outgoings are your main three are your tuition fees, your accommodation costs, and your living costs. And we'll go into how that all works in all three of those. So the cost for your course as a UK or EU student for 2021 entry, the course itself costs £9,000 per year for a full-time 3-year degree. Most students choose to take out a student loan to cover this £9,000. So first things first, what is always good to remind people is that you don't need to have £27,000 sitting in your bank for 3 years of study. That's not how this works. So, you know, that can often put people off and worry people. You don't need to have that £9,000 sitting in your bank for each year. So the loan comes through from the student loans company and is paid directly from the student loans company to UA92 with your name on it. And that's how that works. And we'll go into that in a second. One thing I do want to point out is that from July 2021, the EU students will be charged international fees. So if you are an international student, obviously these fees are slightly higher. And you can see, if we can change over here, that the international fee is 13,770 per year for international undergraduate study. EU fees as of July 2021 will line up with that. And overseas and international students don't have access to the Student Loans Company or Student Finance England. That's what the SFE stands for there. If you're an international student, check out that website there. They pronounce that as UCAS. And they have all the varying fee statuses, so whether you're international or whether you're settled in the UK or all these different complicated things. So check that out, or get in touch via the chat or, like I said, the socials, or drop us a line on the email addresses, and we'll be able to look at individual cases. So how do you apply for your student finance? So you apply online. It's an entirely online application, and then there's supporting evidence that you can submit. So you go to www.gov.uk/student-finance. That's the best place to start. Go on there. There are guides on there as well. You can apply for your finance. Excuse me, you can apply for your finance without having your offers or your grades or anything like that in place. So it's not open just yet for obviously for September 2021, but it will be usually around January, February time. So you can start an application as soon as then. I'd recommend starting it sooner rather than later when it's open, because obviously you want to make sure everything's in place and you don't want to have any hiccups or anything like that. So give yourself bags of time. So your tuition fee loan will cover your course amount typically. There may be the odd case again, so if you've already done some university study elsewhere or things like that, but again, if you think that might be applying to you, get in touch with us. But typically your university course fee will be covered by your tuition fee loan. So on top of that, eligible UK students can then apply for what's called a maintenance loan. So your maintenance loan is what people traditionally use to put towards their accommodation and their living costs and things like that. A maintenance loan can be up to £9,203 per year or £7,747 per year if you live at home. The 9,200 is if you're living away in the accommodation. 7,747 if you're living at home. The amount you can get, you are awarded is what's called means tested. So that means that it's based on evidence that you submit to the student loans company. So things like household income, the postcode area in which you live, all those kind of things. And that's where you submit your evidence. So how much you'll get up to that amount is based on things like that. Repayment of both the tuition fee loan and your maintenance loan combine into one sum, and we'll go into how it gets paid back shortly. But both fees roll into one in terms of payments, repayment, sorry, to the student loans company. The maintenance loan as well, just like with UCAS before, there is a maintenance loan calculator that will give you a rough idea of what you can expect to be awarded. So if you go onto Google again and just Google maintenance loan or student loans calculator, you can get a rough idea, obviously without having to submit all the evidence. The only way to know exactly what you'll get, obviously, is to submit a full application. But this way, using the calculator, will give you a really helpful rough guide of what you can expect. And lastly, your maintenance loan is paid to you in 3 installments. So if you think that you might need some help with budgeting or something like that, get in touch with our wellbeing service, get in touch with our colleagues in that team who are going to be able to help you with budgeting and things like that. So, as promised, we'll talk a little bit about paying back your loan. So, repayments are made automatically through the tax system. So you don't need to get in touch with anyone to start the payments or anything like that. Payments will come out of your paycheck basically, and will start once you start earning over the threshold during any given pay period. And we'll go in a second into what that threshold is. So the amount you pay back is 9% of the income you earn over the repayment threshold of £2,214 per month, and that's before tax and any other deductions. So this means that you're not actually going to start paying anything back until you're earning over £26,568 per year. So you'll start repaying your loan back, whether you're an employee of a company, whether you're self-employed, or whether you're overseas, from the 6th of April the following year. So after you graduate, that's when you start paying it back, but not until then at the earliest, 6th of April, and not until you're earning more than that just over £26,500. So a really easy example to give here is if you are earning £30,000 a year, let's say 30 grand a year. So before tax, that works out at £2,500 per month. You'd be repaying 9% of £356, because £356 is how far over per month you are that threshold of £2,214. So it's not 9% of your income, it's not 9% of your monthly or yearly income, it's just 9% of what you are over that threshold of 2214. So if you're earning 30 grand, you're taking home before tax and everything else, £2,500 a month. You pay back 9% of £356, so roughly about 30 quid, 32 quid a month. And then the more you earn, the more you'll pay back. But again, you don't need to notify the student loans company about paying anything back. It just automatically comes out of your paycheck, same as taxes and your national insurance and everything like that. All this information, again, is on the Student Finance website. So if you want to make a note of it, feel free from here. Alternatively, like I said, go onto the Student Finance website in your own time, get yourself a cup of tea and just have a good read through it, because there's a lot of information to take in. As I keep saying though, we are here for you in terms of helping you with the applications, helping you with any information that you might need. So get in touch either now or get in touch when you've had 5 minutes to sort of take all this information in. So in terms of bursaries, scholarships and grants, so we have, as was mentioned earlier, what's called our Kickstart grant. So Kickstart is available to anybody who lives in Greater Manchester and who meets the criteria we'll get onto shortly. So we have 92 of these Kickstart grants available, and each of them are worth £5,000 paid directly to the student over your 1 or 3 years with us. If you're here just for the 1 year, then obviously it gets prorated down. If you're here for the whole 3 years, that gets paid to you over the whole 3 years. So Kickstart is for anybody who has been adversely affected by the coronavirus crisis, who's from and lives in the Greater Manchester area. So the Kickstart grants will enable those who have lost their jobs or are currently out of work or living on reduced means because of the pandemic. So if you have a Greater Manchester postcode and you have been adversely affected by the pandemic, get in touch with us and we'll see if you can you meet the criteria. The full eligibility criteria is on the website. So I'm not going to go through it all now because I know obviously there's a lot of information for you to take in. But if you go to the website, go to the area on the website called Fees and Finance, and all the information and the criteria, the eligibility criteria, sorry, is on the website for you to have a look at there. Alternatively, there are other bursaries and scholarships and things like that as well. So all that information is on the website. So get yourself on the website and have a look on there as well. If you are looking to join the Access course that I mentioned earlier, so we're nearly there now, the Access course is also available for funding as well. So there is a government-funded advanced learner loan that is available to people looking to join our Access course. So it's available to people over 19 years of age, and you should apply for this loan differently to student finance. So this one, you do need to wait until you've been accepted onto the course to be able to apply for it. So whereas with student finance, you can do it in advance, this one, make sure you've got your offer first, and then you can apply for the Access, the advanced learner loan. So this one doesn't take into consideration your household income. It doesn't involve any credit checks either though, so nothing to worry about there. Repayments, similarly, are linked to what you earn after you complete, not what you borrowed. So again, same as student finance, it's linked to what you earn. The threshold is slightly different, but it's linked to your earnings. And repayments start when you are earning over £25,000. So slightly different to, like I said, to the 26.5 roughly for student finance, but £25,000 is the threshold for this. Alternatively, though, if you go on to progress onto a full degree at UA92, if you then progress and complete a degree course with us at UA92, the funding for the Access course is wiped out. So there is an option there. If you want to go straight onto the degree with us, as this course can provide a route to that, you can then move directly onto the degree and do so, and wipe the funding out for this one and just pay for the degree. So that's kind of it in terms of a whistle-stop tour, a very quick information-heavy presentation on both applying to UCAS, applying directly, and student finance. I know there's been a whole load of information for you to take in there. So please feel free, like I said, to get in touch with us afterwards. That's what we're all here for. You've got the chat function, you've got the Q&A, you've got all our social media and all our email addresses. So please get in touch. So that's it from me. I'm going to hand over now to my colleague Steph in our wellbeing team, and Steph is going to be joined by our second year student Abs, and they're going to tell you all about our wellbeing service. So that's it from me, and I'll hand over to Steph.